Hey there, I'm Jama, and over the past few years, I've become very interested in onomatology, the study of names. I've never really liked my name until I researched the meaning of it. My name means paradigm shifter, and I'd like to shift your paradigm by shining a light on onomatology and how it can potentially help you find your purpose, help you communicate better with others, or even both. In each episode, I ask someone 8 basic questions regarding their first name. So sit back, relax, and try to shift your paradigm with this next episode. All right, so in today's episode, I am very excited for this conversation because the person I'm about to interview is somebody who was highly recommended from a friend that I trust and respect, Brandon, and he's also been on the podcast. And this person, I don't know her, but I have read her book. And she has a very impressive LinkedIn profile and resume that I am completely in awe of. I I'm very, very excited to meet her and learn more about her. So welcome to the podcast, Mita.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. And I love when we're recommended by people who have also had great conversations with us. So thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, and before we start talking about the 8 questions and go through all of those, could you just kind of give a little brief intro to my listeners about where you're podcasting from and a little bit about yourself?
I'm podcasting from the great state of New Jersey in the US. I'm happy to report the snow has melted and the sun is out. So I'm very, very excited. My entire life, I've been obsessed and passionate about storytelling from a young age. Writing, reading, ideating, imagining different worlds. It's something that I have always just been a part of who I am from as long as I can remember. And so that, not surprisingly, led me into a career as a marketing executive. And then I ended up becoming an HR executive, thinking about, we spend a lot of time thinking how we're going to sell how much of what to whom, when, where, why, but we don't always have that same focus as our employees being an internal customer and sometimes the most important stakeholder. And then along the way, I rediscovered my passion for writing, starts and stops. And I had a first book come out in 2023 called Reimagine Inclusion, Debunking 13 Myths to Transform Your Workplace. My second book just came out last fall called The Devil Emails at Midnight, What Good Leaders Can Learn from Bad Bosses. I know we'll talk about that because I have a tough story about my name that I chose to include. And then apart
Mm,
from that, my most important job is being a mom and trying to raise kind and inclusive human beings. And I'm sure every generation before us said this, but it's a really hard time, I feel, to be raising children. And that's top of mind
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And I especially love the storytelling passion that you have.
Oh, thank
I
you.
do think that a lot of what I enjoy, especially in creating my podcast over the past year and a half, is learning about people's stories,
Yes.
who they are, and
Mhm.
why they are the people they are. So,
Yes, I love that.
yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and just jump right into the first question.
Okay, let's do it.
So, I'm curious, before I brought up my podcast and proposed that you be a guest, did you know what your name meant?
I don't remember when I found out what my name meant. Like, there was not a moment that I remember someone said, "This is the significance of your name." My
Hmm.
full name is Madhumita Malik. I now go by Mita Malik in terms of my professional, personal world, but on my marriage certificate, birth certificate, license, all the sort of important legal documents, it says Madhumita. And Madhu means honey.
Okay.
And Mita means friend, so it's a good friend, a close friend, and I am a proud daughter of Indian immigrant parents, and my parents are from West Bengal in Kolkata. So Bengali was my first language. So
Okay.
that's the origin of the name.
Okay. That's awesome and beautiful. I love that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And so, for most of your life, do people call you Mita?
Yes, they do. And actually, in Bengali culture, people have nicknames that have absolutely nothing to do with their full name. And so they call them Daknams. And so for those listening who are familiar with Bengali culture or Bengali, I have a name that my parents call me, my family calls me, that is not even anything that's remotely related to Mita Malik.
Okay, gotcha. All right, yeah, that's so I should have asked you for your legal name, but if you go by Mita, like that's the name that I looked up.
Sure, yeah, of course. And that's the name for all the reasons I'm proud of and I embrace now. But if
Yeah.
someone calls me Madhumita, which I have, some aunts or uncles who might, I also embrace that as well.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. And I don't know anyone with that name. Uh,
Wonderful. Now you do. Great.
yes, I do. I love it. I love unique names. And I did look it up as well. And I'll share with you a little bit more information about what I found.
Oh, cool. Yes.
Yeah, so um,
And by the way, there was no Chat GPT or Claude or the internet, probably when I learned about. So I'm interested to hear. I have not Googled my name lately. Maybe you have
yeah,
discovered other origins of the name that I did not know.
yeah, it has a beautiful meaning. It has multiple meanings too,
Uh-huh.
which I think is great. It gives you a little bit more layers. So the first one, it says that I found that it originates from Sanskrit
Hmm.
and it signifies balance and reliability.
Hmm.
And it often means true friend,
Oh, yeah.
measured or grounded.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then if you look up Mita
Hmm.
in Japanese, it can mean beautiful or abundant. And then it also means pearl in certain Spanish contexts.
Oh, cool.
And it says it's used to imply stability, friendship, and affection. It was interesting too because on Nameberry, because Nameberry is a website that I visit often, it said it has roots in Hindi, Persian, and Greek.
Oh, cool.
Meaning friend, earth mother. It said in Sanskrit, measured or modest.
Hmm.
So like it's got like, it's in the realm of
Yes.
all of these things I'm mentioning. And then I like to go a layer deeper and peel the onion a little bit more. And so I always look up what is the symbolism for these
Hmm.
words.
Yes.
And so the symbolism for modesty is humility, purity, and self-control.
Hmm.
Symbolism for friendship, which I saw a lot of, was eternity, loyalty, and connection. And then the symbolism for groundedness is deep stability, emotional balance, and secure connection to the present moment.
Wow. I feel like I'm getting a spiritual reading right now. This is amazing. I'm getting like deep dive lesson into my name. Wow. Thank you. That's a beautiful gift. No one's ever spent that much time researching my name. I haven't. Like I
Yeah.
said, have some at some point had a memory that somebody in my family told me this was the meaning of your name, and that's what I accepted it as. But they're all cousins of each other, everything you're telling me. Very interesting, very interrelated meanings.
Yeah. And when I looked that information up and after reading your book, The Devil Emails at Midnight, and I actually read it and I listened to it, the audio
Oh,
version.
wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you have a great voice for
Oh, I
reading
appreciate that.
books.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it seemed I will say, it seemed very grounded,
Oh, it did.
very
Okay.
stable.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's
So,
amazing. Good, good, good to hear.
yeah,
Wow.
kind of all matching up. So I take it you like the meaning?
I do. It's like, wow, isn't that interesting? I always say people someone gave you a name who had big hopes and dreams for you. And so
Hmm.
the most basic form of respect is honoring people's names. And also this idea that, wow, I lived up to the name my parents gave me. Like that's the emotion coming up to me. Like, wow, that's really cool. Like a lot of the things that you are saying to me are probably ways that people closest to me in my life would describe me.
That's awesome. I love that.
Oh, thank you. What a wonderful gift. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, and I'm curious, have you had the conversation with your parents? Like, do you know the meaning of why they named you, what they named you?
So my mom, I remember, and after our conversation, I'm going to call mom. I call her multiple times a day. I call my mom
Oh, good.
a few times a day. I will ask her again, but the last time we talked about this, it was a Bollywood or a Hindi movie star. My mom was born and raised in India. So I think there was some tie, and I was born here, but I think there was somebody on screen TV in a book where she saw the name and
Okay.
was drawn to it.
Okay. Great. And thinking back, growing up, or even as a young adult, did you ever have the thought cross your mind, I wish I had a different name?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Sad to say, but yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I grew up in We were a handful of families of color. I grew up outside of Boston, mostly a white neighborhood. And my name was always a source of shame, joy, pride, embarrassment, all those things. And so I can still remember in like elementary school where everyone sort of rushed into the gym, first day of school, and the principal would call out like homeroom assignments, what class you were in. And as soon as he got to my name, I knew because it would be like ma, d, ma. D. It was this long, and I would like rush up, trying to make sure he felt comfortable. Like that was always how I was raised. Like other people's
Mhm.
comfort was more important than my own, and that ties to hospitality in our culture that I think can go to an extreme. But I remember rushing up to be like, it's me. Like, don't worry, you don't have to say it. And so, yeah, I wished my name was like Jen,
Mhm.
Kelly. Yeah, Jen and Kelly, Carrie. I'm thinking of people that names in elementary school that I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why
Okay.
couldn't I have an easy name? When you're six
Yeah.
or seven going through that, you're like, why can't I have a name that is easy to pronounce that doesn't make me feel different than everyone else?
Yeah. I can totally relate. So I understand
That's,
for sure. Well, and if you had to choose, if you were forced to change your first name, is there a name that you really like that you would choose?
I mean, yeah, when I was seven, it'd probably be Jen. It'd probably be Jennifer. That
Yeah.
would probably have been it. I would have picked any name that was like on that list of 20 kids that was just a very common, let's say, Western American name that
Yeah.
everybody could pronounce. It was easy and people moved on.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun fact, Jennifer means white wave. So
Oh,
I didn't know.
interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I should do some more research on what I want my name to mean if I had to do it again and then pick it. But no, I think
Yeah.
that's yeah. I never felt that way as an adult, but certainly as a child, that was the feeling.
Yeah. Okay. So this question, I am very interested to hear your answer in because I want to hear a little bit more about your book in the response to this question. So my question is, has your name ever been mispronounced? And
Mm.
I know it has. I would love to know, how does it make you feel when your name is mispronounced?
Oh, it's like a punch to the stomach, particularly if it's done on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like when we're entering the green room and I said, "How do you pronounce your name?" And you had researched me and said, "This is how you pronounce your name." Like that's different. But I was on not too long ago, and then we can get into the specific story from the Devil Emails at Midnight. I was on a local television show for the book. I was doing a press tour. And for most of these, like ABC Fox enter the region, right? Whatever the channel is, and then the region of the country. When you're doing these, a lot of these are on Zoom now, post-pandemic. And so you're
Mm-hmm.
in a green room, Zoom, fancy little backstage. And usually a producer comes in and says, can I ask you how to pronounce your name? Which is a very kind and appropriate and essential thing to do before you go on live TV, right? So
Yeah.
I've done many of these. 90% of the time, people do this. This one time, they don't do it. And this gentleman who's the host, and I won't say, and people can find it and Google it, but he's like, and we have this book about bad bosses called The Devil Emails at Midnight. And here she is, Mita Malik. Mita, welcome to the show. And you're like, okay, this is live TV. what am I going to do?
Oh my
And I
God.
have this decision to make. I can sit through, which the old me has done. I have sat through interviews, meetings, you name it, with people mispronouncing my name. And I
Hmm.
looked at him and I said, "Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's Mita Malik." And I just sort of, but I said it and I said it directly and firmly and smiled, not
Yeah.
to make anyone uncomfortable and not to
Yeah.
be like, how dare you mispronounce my name? But those
Yeah.
are like, that's like table stakes. You're going on live TV for an interview. A show like that, you have executive producers. Just that is a responsibility of the
Yeah.
host of the show. So that's my most recent, and that was it was just a horrible feeling because then again in the interview he mispronounces my name again, right? So it's just like, oh god, when is this going to end? But it's live TV. And so I'm like, smile, right? um and
Oh,
then yeah, and then the story in the book, which it's so funny. I mean, now thousands of people have read this book, including you, and I still have such a hard time talking about it because I feel like when I talk about it, the trauma of being back in that particular space and place. So the Devil Emails at Midnight, What Good Leaders Can Learn from Bad Bosses. I have 13 archetypes of bad bosses. I include myself in it. And I, as you know, don't want to name, shame, blame, demonize people. I hope they're all good leaders, but I've nicknamed everyone because it's fun to nickname people. And oh, don't we want to make bosses like the villain, like Miranda and the Devil Wears Prada, right? Like that's sort of our inclining. And we all kind of will complain about our bad bosses to our friends. So I've nicknamed them in this chapter, it's the sheriff. And I remember leaving graduate school. I was so excited, starting my marketing career, and I wanted to reclaim my full name. As I told you, I went by Mita Malik for most of my life. I left Duke University Business School, and I was like, I would like to reclaim my name. And a lot of individuals actually told me not to. It's too hard to pronounce. You're not going to get callbacks. You should just go by Mita. I was like, no, I'm going to go by my full name. And this individual, the sheriff, is the bully from the playground who follows you into corporate America. It's that same person who's grown up, knew that was my Achilles heel, knew I was a people pleaser. I was an introvert and shy and was just quiet and doing good work. Did not want to learn how to pronounce Mother Mita, didn't want to say Mita, which was the option I gave, and decided to rename me Muhammad and would be like, Muhammad, go get the sales samples. Muhammad, are you coming to launch? Muhammad, the agency's here. Can you go to security and bring them up to the meeting? And this went on for months. I mean, it's just horrible. And I'll never forget there was a moment, I talk about it in this chapter, where I said to him, we're in the office doing a one-on-one, just myself and this former boss. And I said, can you just call me Mita? And he said, oh, it's so funny. You're being
mm,
sensitive. Like, what's the problem?
mm,
And oh gosh, it's really painful because I think what's the most painful part of it is all the people that saw that happening that didn't intervene. The people
yes.
who are at my level, I was a junior marketer. So you might say to me, people ask me this, they'll say, why didn't you do anything about it? And I
Hmm.
said, well, I did, but I also wanted this big brand, sexy name, title on my resume. And I wrote this article for Entrepreneur Magazine for National Daughters Day. And it was a letter to my daughter where I said to her, you teach people how to treat you. She doesn't know the story of this name yet, but I included in this article, and I advise her if someone does that to her, what they did to me is look them in the eye that first time and say, it's Mita. And
Yeah.
I think when you stand up to bullies like that, they realize they can't get away with it with you. But then what happens is they just go on to bully someone else.
Yeah.
So perhaps if I had done that, but I don't know. I always go back and think, like, what could I have done differently? I don't know.
Yeah. When I read that part of your book, I felt so much intense emotion. I like I I got emotional, like frustrated for you. I felt like holy crap, like that's terrible. I was angry with that like person.
Yeah.
I felt just like so there were multiple emotions that I felt. And I think it's because obviously like my name is not very common and people always like misinterpret it or just say, oh, it's Jamie, just because it's like easier for them and they know that
Yeah.
name better. And like, I don't know. I was so baffled that somebody could just be like, I'm going to call you this, not
Mm.
respect you, and then as a leader, set that example for
Yes.
others.
And then others started, as you remember in the book, they started also calling me that name. Like more
Yeah.
junior people thought it was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such, I'm glad that you wrote about it. I'm not glad that you had to experience that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's a huge lesson learned because I think a lot of people, especially after interviewing over 100 people now, a lot of people don't know the meaning of their name. A
Mm.
lot of people don't really like, they don't understand the significance
Mm.
about how powerful it is
Yes.
because it's so tied to you.
Yeah, it is.
So,
And it's interesting because people will say to me now, well, why don't you go by Mother Mita? And if that experience hadn't happened to me and we were sitting here now on your podcast, I probably would be introducing myself as Mother Mita. But I
mm,
think early on in corporate America, that experience was so traumatic for me that I just went back to Mita. So it's like I tried, I can't fit in, I'm going to go back to Mita. And I'm still proud of the full name my parents gave me. But then life happens and you have a brand and you publish books and things that you do that are exciting. And you think, okay, I'm just going to keep going by Mita Malik, not to
yeah,
confuse people. But I do get responses on LinkedIn and social media. Well, like, why aren't you just going by your full name now? And there's
yeah,
not an easy answer to that. But I do think it's from the trauma of that.
yeah,
And you know, there's like, I was saying in the book, there's three bosses who really impacted my mental health, the sheriff being one of them. And that's a really specific story. And so someone's like, have any of these bad bosses reached out to you? I'm like, no, because most of them aren't self-aware enough. But that's a pretty specific story, and that person knows who they are and
yeah,
how they treated me. And I hope that they're doing better. I hope that they actually have healed from whatever trauma they had, because that's what happens when you leash out on someone else like that. I hope they're a good leader now.
yeah, definitely agree with you. And that just proves even more the power in a name. So,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that story.
Thank
For
you
sure.
for asking. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope that people who are listening to this episode, if you are a leader, that you understand how powerful it is and your influence in others, even if it's
Yes,
just how you call somebody by their name.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, my second to last question. So I know that at the beginning of this conversation, I revealed a little bit more to you about the meaning of your name. And I know that you haven't sat with that information for that long, but I am curious. Do you think that the meaning of your name has any relevance on the way that you act or the way that you see the world around you? And if so, how?
I'm thinking of all the ways you described the word stable force, friendship, connection. I think that's always been really important to me. I think the irony is when I was growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends.
Mm,
And I was bullied a lot physically and verbally by my peers. I was isolated. I that's actually why I spent a lot of time. Had my younger brother was one of my only friends, and I read a lot and watched a lot of TV and wrote a lot and did all those things. And that's, I think, as an adult now, why community and connection and friendship and the people who are in my life, it matters to me a lot. So that is interesting when I think about my personal journey and then the meaning of my name.
yeah. Okay. All right. My last question. So, when I first started my podcast about a year and a half ago, I was curious about what other books were saying about the significance of names.
Mm.
And so I Googled what is the best-selling book of all time. It happens to be the Bible.
Mhm.
And I was just
No
curious.
surprise there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I have been learning a lot more over this last year and a half that there are a lot of people mentioned where it states that they underwent a name change. And one example is in the Old Testament in Genesis. It talks about how God came to Abram and said, "You will no longer go by Abram. You will going by Abraham, and you are to change your wife's name from Sarai to Sarah." And I'm just curious what your opinion is about what do you think the significance is of that story even being mentioned instead of just
Mm.
going straight to the this is Abraham and Sarah?
Well, I've never read the whole Bible. I didn't grow up in a faith where the Bible was at the center of that faith. What I would say from that story is it immediately brings me to what happens in our workplaces, which is that we want to make others comfortable. And sometimes people in positions of power don't want to be bothered to learn a name. So, do you have a nickname? Do you have a shortcut? Do you have something else you go by? And so, even that name change is that because somebody who had power to make the changes in the iterations of the Bible, right? If there's different versions of it, decided that as you're talking about these individuals, let's actually have names that are easier to remember or understand. In that case, it sounds like it was God. So I don't know. I don't know at some point if a human being translated that message differently to present a name. Again, I don't want to offend anyone. I'm not of um, the Christian faith, but that to me is what's like, because what I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing, and this is the first time I'm hearing this story from you, is that it seems like a name that is for some people, let's say from a Western ear, it's easier to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Those were all my
Oh
questions.
my God. So, what a wonderful podcast. Thank you for having
Oh,
me.
thank you for being a part of it. And I always open it up to my guests. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me a question. If not, no worries.
The meaning of your name. Now I must know.
Yeah. So Jama, it originates in Hebrew. It derives from James or Jacob. And so ultimately, my name means paradigm shifter. So
Oh,
yeah,
love that.
it's my translation and my interpretation of it because James, which is not my name, means supplanter.
Mm,
And so when you take the word supplanter, it means to turn over. And so if you are turning something over, you're ultimately looking at it from a different perspective.
yes, you are.
So I think the easiest way for me to tell people about what it means is it's paradigm shifting or a paradigm shifter, and I think it really fits me. I'm very analytical. I'm on the IT side of HR, and I'm a product owner, so I have to shift my paradigm every day, multiple times, and
Yes.
it kind of just when I learned the meaning and interpreted it that way, it just made me help me understand why I do some of the things that I do better and helped me feel a little bit more confident in who I am. And that's kind of why I started my podcast because I
Mm,
thought if that helped me, maybe, just maybe, I can help at least one more person understand themselves better.
yeah. I love that so much. I love this podcast. Thank you for the impact you're making in the world. I can't wait
Mhm.
to share it in social media. Where recently I was talking about names being mispronounced, and it's so interesting why such a human topic as many things becomes politicized. Like, why just get over it? They're more important things. So what if someone mispronounces your name? Why are you making a big deal out of this? The comment section is always goes wild whenever I talk about my name being mispronounced or misspelled.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, boo hoo hoo, you go figure out something else to talk about. And I'm like, then you can unfollow me. But this is, I mean, it's sort of a basic, I say the most basic way form of simple table stakes respect is getting people's names right. And that doesn't mean we don't show grace and kindness if people get it wrong the first or second time. It's the intent that matters.
Yeah, 100%. And those comments also help you understand exactly where their emotional intelligence level is.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, on that note, well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'll
of
remember
course.
that next time I see a comment. I'll remember what you just told me.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure getting to know you better.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe or follow the podcast on your favorite platform. Your support helps me continue bringing you meaningful conversations with remarkable guests. Don't forget to tune in next time for more insightful discussions and inspiring stories. Until then, thank you for listening and keep striving to make a positive impact wherever you are. And don't forget to tap into the meaning of your own name to find a deeper sense of confidence in your purpose.